What I know to be true is this. There's so many people that I know that have like an extensive period of time sober, and they all say the same thing. If you practice these principles in all your affairs and you keep doing what you're doing now, you will never drink again. And if you never drink again at your age, like you can have life by the balls in the next 5 to 10 years. And I want to know what having life by the balls feels like.
Life on EJ. Life on EJ. Yeah, yeah.
Imagine a lot of personality.
Oh, yo, you know what's funny? I was literally just about to say, like, you wear a lot of hats.
Managing a lot of personalities, bro.
Yeah,
You got to give a little bit of yourself to each and every person.
you manage a lot.
Remember I said love the one you're with?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't love the one I'm
Yeah.
with.
Do you ever get overwhelmed?
Yeah. I manage myself in the morning and make sure I'm ready for the day to be able to be in service to people. You're going to go through the same thing. You manage a house right now that's got a bunch of guys in it. You're going to have 5, 6 more. You're going to manage a group of 30, 40 people. You put people in place to help you with that. But then when that happens, the big problems flow back to you. So you're going to start with all the little problems. And then you put people in place, delegate responsibility. And then the big problems are going to flow to you. And then you're like, fuck, these big ones are massive.
Mm-hmm.
Why we need to be resilient and anti-fragile so that we can, because we can handle, I mean, if we can't handle ourselves, how can we handle and manage any kind of business or responsibility? So that's the practice up front. It made me, and this is the thing for us, it'll make us feel like I can't even take care of myself. How can I be responsible for other people? Then we start taking care of ourselves and we realize, like, of course I can. Take the drugs out of the equation. We can do a hell of a lot.
Well, put the drugs back in the equation for a second. Like, did your stresses at work or getting overwhelmed at work ever, like, was that ever like a driving factor as to why you went back to drugs?
Yeah. A lot of people have a lot of different problems, and if you feel like you want to be able to help everybody, and you can't, then you start to feel like you're failing. I want to leave every encounter with you making you feel great or giving you exactly what you need, but I'm not Superman, and it's not my responsibility. But you'll think it is as a new CEO or somebody that's in the chair. And then it builds on you. And you're like, I'm trying so hard, God. Why is everybody so unhappy? And then if you can't keep your spirits up above water, it makes it even worse. And then it snowballs. And then you're like, just give me a feeling, man. Why do I feel like this? And then you go use drugs for the release. And you think, I'll just get back. I'm just getting an escape for a minute. And then if you're me and you and I, it turns into what it does.
And then, like, all right, so how the fuck do you crawl out of that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you crawl out of that hole that you buried yourself into because you just wanted to feel something and go back to, like, everyday responsibilities and not get overwhelmed again?
You know what the scary answer to that is for me is that up to this point, the way I've done it is I buried myself so bad in the drug hole that I'm begging for those problems that are this size all over again.
Yeah.
It's not a problem anymore. My perspective changes when I bury myself so deep. Go make my life infinitely worse and then show me the original problem and it's nothing.
It's not that bad.
Right. But how do I do that in a healthy way is the question.
It's like they say, like your worst day sober is better than your best day using.
That's funny to throw that in there because like that's probably exactly right. When it makes sense right there that makes sense right now to me more than ever.
Because it's like, are my problems really that bad? You know what I mean? Are they that bad that, like, I have these stresses of, like, where's the money coming from this week because I work on straight commission and, like, I don't have a set number that I'm fucking entitled to every week? Like, is that stress gonna overwhelm me and be worse than, like, what it felt like when I was living in a tent and wanted to kill myself? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to kill myself. No bullshit, because I didn't want to have to feel those things anymore. Like, for a while in the beginning, it was like, whatever. And then, like, slowly it progresses. It actually progresses quickly. It progresses, and then before you know it, like, for me at least, Like I go into such a bad place, like not even just physically, like physically my place is bad where like I go without showering for months and like I don't know where my next meal is coming from. 9 times out of 10 it's coming out of a fucking trash can. I can't scrape together $5 to get my next one. Like it's like an all day struggle to get my next one. And then it's like when I get to those problems where like all of that leads me to wanting to die, I think back like was the stress of like not knowing where my commission check was going to come from really that bad?
Yeah.
Was it really that bad that I went out and did this?
The real question, me too, man. The real question for us is like, how do we go about it in a healthy way?
Yeah.
Because for us both, we'll just go bury ourselves and be like, man, shit, give me that back. And God's blessed us up to this point where we didn't cripple ourselves enough where we can't get back. Because that's the saddest thing in the world. All I had was bad coping, and I needed it to get worse for me to be able to shift the perspective and realize that that wasn't really about anything. How do we shift the perspective first? Because next time we're not going to be able to get back.
Because those stresses are going to come up again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like how, like what's that coping mechanism? You know what I mean?
That's what
like,
all this process of recovery that we're in right now is really about.
Yeah.
What do you do
Yeah.
when the fucking rubber meets the road, man?
Yeah. Yeah. It gets tough.
Perspective is crazy.
Yeah.
Stupid things. I had this brand new pair of Under Armour sweatpants. They had the Rocks logo. My girl got it for me. I was like, these things are tough. They're like these thick ones. And I put those on, super clean fit. Nice pair of sweats. I never wear sweats. But when I did, I'm like, oh, this is super clean. Ended up being like what I wore once my run got bad. It's like the same pair of sweats was like me, super clean, being able to like relax on a Sunday. Switch the perspective with a scenario, and I'm wearing those sweats and I'm a fucking bum with money, but just a bum because it doesn't matter. Look what I've done in my life. Perspective shift. My problems now, drugs aside, I have less money now than I had then. Why? Because I'm spending on everything, but also I have a lot of stuff in the works. But it's just about like putting the right perspective on things. I'd rather have this reality right now, which comes with a lot more uncertainty, than the one I had when I bailed. It just bubbled up and bubbled over. So I guess the question is, how do we keep ourselves at even keel? How do we keep ourselves all right? Because I heard this, that the universe, right when things get uncomfortable and overwhelming, that's like, it's our temperature going up. It's a new challenge that we haven't been through yet. That's when the growth comes, is being able to go through that. But what we do, temperature starts to go up, and we regulate it. Our world is expanding bigger than we've ever allowed it to before. And we bail. And we regulate by throwing a wrench in it. It's just too big for me. I can't handle it, you know? You know how like I'm the squirrel I said? I'll go a little bit, then come back. If you send me out in Kensington, like I'll go to like one block before like a hot minute before I go explore like a new one. I'll wear like one Jordan sneaker before I go like explore. I've done this shit like my whole life. I'm in business and it's like, Jonathan, action and speed matters. You got to like get to it. But like I go a little bit out, then a little bit out. Because I regulate my temperature. This is too much. It's too overwhelming. Business, I got thrown into the mix and we just went for 3 years straight. And I had the head to be able to keep letting my world expand around me. I kept hitting new heights. And I love that. How was I conditioned for that? A lot of time spent alone, a lot of time spent meditating, doing esteemable things, welcoming the challenges. That was my perspective. Thank you, God, for the perfect challenge that's going to help me. So these were some of the things that allowed me to be able to keep breaking barriers. How do you go about managing your perspective? And how do you go about coping properly when your temperature starts to rise because you're in uncharted waters?
I think a lot of it has to do with like awareness, where it's like when those moments come, it's like the awareness of like, okay, I've been here before. Now, when I was here before, how I reacted to it wasn't great, and this is what it led to. You know what I mean? So now I'm here again. So I have one of two choices. I can either react the same way that I always have, and I'm going to end up in the same exact places, or I can go against the grain for what I usually do and do it a little bit differently, right? Where it's like, stay composed, stay calm. Like, I know this might be a tough situation, but stay composed, stay calm. Because if you go this way, trust me, like, where you're going to end up is going to be a million times worse than the feeling that you're feeling right now, right? And it's just like awareness of that. Like, I've been here before and I've never reacted the right way. So now it's time to, like, stay firm and figure out the right way it is to go about doing this. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what life is. Life is all about figuring stuff out. You know what I mean? Like, nobody has every answer to every fucking question or every situation. Like, you have to feel through it. You know what I mean? And like, I'm doing that a lot, bro. Like, I have a lot of new challenges that come up that I've never even been faced with before. But like, what am I going to do? Bail and run and go back to what I've always done? That's not comfortable for me. You know what I mean? It stopped being comfortable for me a long time ago. Yeah. It's like, yo, just stay in the game. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest.
Stay in the game, figure it out. You know what I mean? And like, the best part about it is, like, I have so many people around me that, like, I can kind of go to, like, yo, have you ever been through this before? And even if they haven't been through it before, they can relate it to something that they have been through, and this is what they did in that situation. So they give me that advice, and I take that advice. Like, take suggestions.
Do you like talking to people and having conversations with people?
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, they'll talk to people. They don't really give a shit what other people have to say. They only care about themselves. They do it for some weird sideways reason. I don't know. But that's one of your mechanisms, is you talk to people.
It depends on who it is, though, too. You know what I mean? Like, when it's people that, like, aren't doing the right things and their head isn't in the right place and they just have, like, bad motives and shit like that, like, I don't want to talk to those people. I don't really have anything for you.
Me neither. My
know what I
temperature
mean?
goes up. Sometimes my temperature go up in a bad comment.
But when it's people that, like I admire, or people who, like, I respect the way that they go about doing things, like, yeah, I like having those conversations because I'm constantly picking their brain. You know what I mean? Because I want to get to where they got to. And I don't even just mean like in the physical aspect or materialistic aspect. I mean like mental and emotional. Like, how have you gotten there? How are you able to like run into situations where somebody just, like, wildly disrespects you and you're able to stay so composed? You know what I mean? Like, you're able to not lose your shit, because I've struggled with that my whole life. You even sniff at disrespecting me, bro, and I'm punching you in your face. You know what I mean? And I don't want to react like that anymore, because that's not the right way to react to situations.
You have a lot to lose now, too.
Yeah.
First thing I think of in situations like that is, why am I in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
The eagle analogy. I'm supposed to be flying up here. I'm not supposed to be around this type of shit. Blatant disrespect out of the blue, out in public. I'm overly paranoid about that. I'm always just, like, thinking that people are gonna. That's like some jail shit. You just like think something's coming your way.
Yeah.
I've calmed down since I've, like, come home, because it doesn't really happen out in the world. But, like, I have a thing with blatant disrespect out in public with my family, the kid, my girl. I'm not for it, and I'm glad it doesn't happen, because I don't want to overreact. Other than that, I'm like, why am I in this situation? And then I'm like, get these people away from me. I always end up going back to self.
So this is the way my brain works, and this is why I have to be very conscious and very aware at all times throughout my day. So I don't even just mean, like, blatant disrespect out in public by a random person, right? So this sober house that I'm living in, right? I am the one that's responsible of making sure that, like, everything stays intact, everything stays clean, everything stays copacetic, right? My brain, this is where it takes me. If somebody leaves dishes in the sink, when I've made it known, like, we don't live like that here numerous times, I automatically go to, this person's just, they don't got no respect for my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they think I'm
pussy.
pussy. They think I'm pussy. You know what I mean? I'm like, automatically it goes there. Like, the other day, I go into the kitchen and I'm about to make coffee and I see a coffee mug in the sink.
One mug?
One mug. It could have been 20 mugs. It wouldn't have made a difference, right? But it's just like, we just had this conversation last week. You know what I mean? About this whole thing. And so quickly, I'll go to, these motherfuckers just don't listen.
So let me ask you, your rule is, if you use a mug, you got to wash it right then and there?
Wash that shit.
Right then and there?
Yes. 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 Because here's the thing.
Did you tell the guy how to move when he gets out of the shower? This is how you put your socks on and when you do it.
It's a different thing, bro. It's a different thing.
But isn't there a difference between like dirty and like you're messing up like the community aspect for everybody because of the way you go about it versus like I've heard this in relationships.
Mhm.
Someone always feeling slighted, who does the dishes, who takes out the garbage to make sure everybody. It's hard to live around other people. So how do you go about it? It sounds excessive, but I get it.
It's like this, right? So it's a sober house, but like there's also some rehabilitation that goes on there, right? Because it's a transition, right? It's that house is for people who have a little bit of stability, right? They don't have to go live in a fucking recovery house with guys that are still shitting out heroin. It's you're a little bit more stable than that, but you're in a position where you're not yet ready to live on your own, whether it be because of financially or you're just not mentally ready for it because you're still kind of, you're worried, you're scared. So it's a transition. Part of the rehabilitation is to be able to learn how to deal with responsibility, right? So if one of the rules is like, yo, clean up after yourself. You know what I mean? Like don't leave a mess, wash your own dishes and shit like that. If you can't take care of that responsibility, how likely are you to take care of like paying your rent on time?
Mm-hmm.
And then how likely are you that like if you live on your own, like what is your apartment going to look like? That's a responsibility. If you're living on your own in your own apartment, it's your responsibility to make sure that that apartment is cleaned.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's if you're an alcoholic and a drug addict, it is your responsibility to make sure that your ass is in a meeting and doing everything that you're suggested of to do to make sure that you stay clean. Yep. So it's about learning how to deal with responsibilities, and that's part of like the rehabilitation of living in a sober house. And I take that very seriously because for me, it's like I follow the rules. I'm not going to tell you to follow rules that I don't follow myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like if I use a mug, I don't leave it in the sink. Right. I wash it right away. Yep. Why? Because that's the rules that are put in place. And who am I to enforce the rules but not follow them myself?
You have to hold yourself accountable
exactly.
first. I learned that when I went into business. I used to say to you guys, anything that I would ask you to do, I would do myself. Yeah. So I was right there beside you on the phones and stuff. Sometimes I laugh at myself when I give my daughter shit for certain things, and then I'll go ahead and like do the same. And then I check myself. And I agree with you 100%. When I go into facilities and stuff, like I follow the rules. This is how we do things here. And I have guys that work for me that are in recovery. Some of them earlier in recovery than others. And they have this tendency to go outside of the lines. It's just hard for them to just fall in line with the way things go here.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look, especially in the outside world. So I agree, like some of the best people that are molded men are when they go away and do a bid. Mm-hmm. They learn how things operate and they learn how to respect the other guys around them, kind of out of necessity. Yep. But also just how things go here. You're on a schedule. So like, I agree. If I moved into your house, then it's like, this is how things go here. I fall in line. It's not because I'm a pushover. If I don't like it, be the eagle. Get up out and above, man. You can go make your own rules. But while you're here, pay attention to the systems and things that are put in place. Can you fall in line or do you have a problem with that? Do you just have this issue with you where if someone's doing it one way, you have to do it the other? Bad look, and it's a red flag. So like, I agree with you. And I make sure that I operate inside of the lines of wherever it is that I'm at, because like, that's the way it's supposed to go. And it is, to me, it's a make of being in recovery to be able to do it. I think it's stupid when people are like, I'll literally have a whole group sitting in a circle. And it's like the one guy who's like better than or has something else going on that is over there. I don't care if you're the top guy. I don't care if you make $1 million a year, man. And I'm in a group of I'm in with new guys. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing.
It's like this. It's like
10-year recovery guys will be in the same room with the guy who's got 6 months.
I don't think that the rules that are put in place are asking that much of somebody, right? And if 90% of the house has no problem following those rules, why does 10% of the house have a problem with it? Like, why can't the other 10% just fall into line, right? And if you're on this journey of trying to become a better person and be different than you always have, part of that is taking suggestions, following rules, doing things the right way, right? And it's simple. You know what I mean? It's as simple as like, yo, just wash your own dishes. And if you have a problem with doing that, like there's a bigger problem at play. You know what I mean? Than just not washing dishes. Like now you just can't follow rules. You know what I mean? And in life there's rules. Like outside of your sober house, life has rules. And people that don't follow those rules, they end up in bad fucking places, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like for me, like whether I'm the one enforcing the rules or not, like I try to do the right thing and I just try to fall in line because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that 10% because I've been that 10% my whole life and you stick out like a sore thumb and I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb.
I'm similar to you. You know, and I think for both of us, we're open-minded, moldable for the right things, and that's a good quality to have. When we go outside of the lines is when our lives took us to the worst places. When we fall in line in a good place, we do really well. If we find ourselves in good places, like we're gonna do really, really well. It's been true for me, true for you.
Yeah. And like what I've learned, because like I've been in this for a long time now, like 15 years. I've been in and out of recovery houses and sober houses and all of this stuff. Like what I know to be true is when you walk in the door to a clean house, you just feel a lot better. You know what I mean? Like you walk in and everything's a fucking mess and people's shit is all over the place and the couches are all beat up and there's dishes all in the sink and the counters are dirty. Like you don't feel good about where you live. And like I know for me personally, like I want to feel good walking in my front door. Even though it's not my house, like I live there. That's where I lay my head. And like I don't want to dread going into the place that I live because that's a bad spot to be. You know what I mean? I used to live in a tent and like I kept my tent clean. Like it was a bad situation, you know what I mean? And I didn't have to be in that situation, but like that was the choice that I made to live in that situation. And I made sure that my situation was as best as it could be. Like I kept it clean.
Yeah.
Because at least it's like, yeah, I live in a tent, but I walked in and like everything's organized and like, you know, there's not shit all over the place. It's just, I don't know, dude.
Congruency. Have you ever thought to yourself like, I take care of my tent, I take care of my spot. Guys in jail, I take care of my cell. And I started to say like, yo, I want my life to be neat and tidy too. So I always like wanted this congruency between my life and my living space and stuff like that. When my father passed, beautiful apartment, but he had some things that were messy in his life. He went and got the apartment set up nicely first, probably took on some debt to set it up real nice. And unfortunately, I don't think the income was there for him to match. He had a lot of stress because of that. I just always just want this congruency. When I look at other recovery houses, I see guys. You ever see like kids that grow up in the hood, and they have to keep a higher perspective to get themselves up out of there? Like God, kudos to those guys who can keep themselves strong and stay in their own zone in a shitty ass situation. They deserve to get up out of it. I think that's what the recovery houses that we have are offering to people is you don't have to now find and seek and stay sturdy in your mind inside of a shitty situation. We're going to give you a little more congruency with who you are and how you operate and how you think. The universe is meeting you where you're at, man. And that's the gap that you and I are filling in what we're doing.
It's just a nicer environment. You know what I mean?
So people get pulled up to that a little bit quicker than they should.
Yeah. It's the difference between like going to a state-run facility and going to a private insurance facility. Like it's two completely different worlds. You know what I mean? You're around two completely different kinds of people, you know? And I don't know. I just think the better the situation that you're in, the easier it is for you to recover because you're not around the bullshit and the drama and, you know what I mean? Like in our house, we don't have people fucking bringing a bunch of like ratchet strippers in and like doing all of that shit because there's rules in play. You know what I mean? Like you're not allowed to do that. That is there's no tolerance for that. That's unacceptable. Because how quickly can bringing strippers in turn into like now there's alcohol in the house, and then like one of the guys thinks it's a good idea to now start drinking alcohol with the strippers. You know what I mean? And then quickly the alcohol turns into cocaine, and then before you know it, it's a trap house. And that happens in these recovery houses a lot. And like, who is that benefiting? Who is that doing any good for? It's not. It just brings down the whole community. And we try to avoid that at all costs. You know what I mean? And that's why things are in play the way that they are. So maybe I take not doing a dish a little bit seriously, but I take it seriously because, like, you have no idea how quickly somebody not doing a dish can turn into people shooting coke in the house. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Like two houses down, that's how that's ran. And last week there was an ambulance that pulled up there because somebody overdosed. Again, what's that? Like the fourth time in this year alone? You know what I mean?
A couple months ago, 4 ODs all at the same time.
There was just one last week, last Thursday.
I didn't know that.
There was an ambulance there. Yep.
Right.
And it's because I bet you they can get away with not doing their dishes. They give them leeway on that. You know what I mean? I'm not giving leeway on that.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if that's what you want to do, there's a house 2 doors down that you can go move into. And you might pay a little bit less rent, but there's going to be 20, 21, 22 guys in there. You're going to be in a 4-man room. The house is going to be dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to be dealing with a lot of bullshit. There's going to be a waiting line for the laundry room.
This is funny, dude. It's not funny, but this is what I say to customers on the phone too. We're a very service-oriented organization. JD Rarities, precious metals. We're advisors. We sell a esoteric product. A lot of people don't understand precious metals, so I'm like big on the guidance. If they only knew how helpful it was, and the guys that have been with me for a while, that are my customers, they know how helpful that guidance is to navigate through this market and to understand things. Price is what you pay, and value is what you get, and that's always what I tell them. A lot of times our prices are stronger. Sometimes I'm right on par. Sometimes it might be a little bit more expensive. Depends on the day and what's going on. But the value is what they get. And it just came to mind when you were saying you might get a little bit cheaper down the block. But the value that you get, these disciplines, that you don't even realize how they're helping you, how you're coloring your world, what you're holding yourself accountable to. Because it's my opinion that the more disciplines you have and the more things you hold yourself accountable to, structure inside of your family, things that I will or won't allow my child to do. For self, what I require of myself, these disciplines are what compounds. There's a book called The Slight Edge, which is just compound interest that are repeated daily, right? Like my kid doing math problems, my kid reading to earn something she really wants, or having to run a lap to get an hour of tablet time, earning things. Where other households are like, fuck that. And I'm like, fine, you parent the way you parent, I parent the way I parent. But where that leads to people. And some people don't even realize how much good they're getting out of your structure inside of that household. I just am a big believer in that. And we share in that. And so we're on the same page. A lot of people disagree.
That's why,
it's a lot of responsibility, man, to be disciplined like that, and to hold people accountable. But that's the household I want to be in.
I was a big fan of Reprieve, the PHP that I was at, because I've been in so many other programs, and I'm sure I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure that Reprieve charges the insurance probably a little bit more than a lot of other places do, but the value that you get in that, the treatment that you get from there is bro, it's uncomparable to anything that I've ever experienced. You know what I mean? The one-on-ones that you get, the quality of therapists that you get is higher than anything that I've ever seen. The type of care that you get, their hiring process. I would love to be a fly on the wall for their hiring process, because it's the people that they get, dude, are so down to earth and so understanding and compassionate, and go the extra mile for you. It's crazy. So at the end of the day, are you willing to pay that couple of extra dollars to get into a situation where you have a better chance of succeeding because of the value that you get in the treatment center? Yeah. You know what I mean? And for me, obviously, I didn't have the insurance to pay for it. I got lucky enough to get scholarship, but for me to be able to experience that, bro, was I could never repay that debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that like the treatment that I got there played a huge role into me becoming the person that I am today and why I structure things the way that I do, because I've seen it work. You know what I mean? But there's also a lot of care. You know what I mean? Like, yo, the house manager 2 doors down the street, like 2 doors down, he's not gonna care about what you're going through like I'm gonna care what you're going through.
No, why would he? It burdens him.
Yeah,
It's a headache.
yeah.
People equal problems, headaches. Why the fuck would I want to carry that responsibility? Well, you probably should shoulder a load because that's where the most growth, the highest character, and the most reward comes from, if you ask me.
Like how quickly did we get those guys new mattresses and new bed frames? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't take long at all. It was within the first 2 or 3 weeks. Do you think that 2 doors down the street they give a fuck that the mattresses are uncomfortable? No. And that the bed frames look like the Antique Roadshow? They don't give a fuck. It's just pay your rent, motherfucker. I don't care. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you get high, get the fuck out. And we're moving the next person in. And we're not even going to know what their name is. If their name wasn't on a spreadsheet for rent, we wouldn't even know who they are. Yeah. Like, I know these guys. I get to know these guys, bro. Like, I sit down and have conversations with them and understand who they are as people, understand, like, what makes them tick. You know what I mean? And help them understand what makes me tick so that they can avoid doing it, so that we don't have any problems. You know what I mean? I lay it out there, like, what I expect from them. You know what I mean? And then I show them what to expect from me and how I'll go the extra mile for them to make sure that they're taken care of the way that they need to be taken care of. You know? And what's that going to cost you? A couple extra dollars a week? Maybe? You know what I mean?
And that's what love and companionship and, like, you know, having somebody feels like.
Yeah.
How are you gonna deal with not getting overwhelmed? I agree.
Yeah.
Like, when you take the essence out of it and the love out of it and you don't care, like, we would just never operate that way. And that's why I end up with a lot on my shoulders, because I take things. I love the one you're with, man. That's the thing. And so that's why there's so much meaning behind my logo and behind everything to me that I pour myself into, like this is for you and what it is for me as well. How are you going to make sure you don't get overwhelmed? Now, you can't be everything for everybody. Yeah. I know that because I've tried to do that, and it's like, Jonathan, you're going overboard with trying to solve and be everything for everyone. How are you planning on going about it? Let's say it's a year from now, there's 3 more houses, and there's a grand total of 30 people.
So I'm getting a lot better with like, I don't want to say dealing with people because that sounds like a chore. I don't look at it like dealing with people. I look at it like understanding people. And I'm a lot more outgoing than I used to be. But like the way that I don't get overwhelmed is because I have a lot of things that I'm juggling, I'm very strict with my time. You know what I mean? And like I wake up in the morning and I make my coffee, and like that first half hour of the day is allocated to my reading. I sit down and I read for a half hour. Like, I'm not taking anything else on. I'm not answering text messages. I'm not answering phone calls. Like, I'll get to that after my half hour is done, right? After my half hour, I take a shower, I get ready for the day, then I'm in work mode, you know? And then from 10 to 6, that's work mode. That's where I'm at. I'm at work and I'm focusing on work. 6 o'clock is over. Like, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And, like, unless there is, like, an absolute necessity for work that I need to attend to after the hour of 6 o'clock, like, I'm not at work anymore. You know what I mean? I go home and, like, I chop it up with the guys for a half hour, and then I go to a meeting. And from 7 to 8 o'clock, that hour is allocated to my sobriety and, like, my time for that, because I need to feed that too, or else none of this is going to be possible, you know? And then, like, when I get home from that meeting and, like, I wind down for the day, those hours of, like, from, like, 8 to, like, 10:30, because I'm usually asleep by, like, 10:30, that's for me, bro. And that time, because I earned that, because I just spent the whole day taking care of all of my responsibilities and allocating enough time for all of the things that need to be allocated for, like that hour and a half to 2 hours at the end of the day is for me to do whatever it is that I want to do. You know what I mean? And like a lot of it is just like I don't have these like extracurricular activities that I'm doing. Like, bro, I just lay in my bed and watch TV because I earn that. You know what I mean? And that's how I stay level-headed.
You earn that. I love that.
You know?
Yep.
And then like on the weekends, like I have things that I do that I have to show up for. You know what I mean? Like this weekend, I have 2 speaking commitments. One of them's at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning. You know what I mean? And it's for my mother. My mother's chairing the meeting, and I'm speaking for my mother at a meeting.
Shit.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
But like I have to show up for that because I told her that I would. Then Sunday night, I'm speaking at 7 o'clock for my sponsor, right? But before that, on Sundays, I have step work that I do with my sponsee. So I have to make sure that I show up for that too. So like there's these responsibilities that I take on that I have to show up for, and I have to be game ready for them. But it's just about being strict with my time, bro, and making sure that I'm following through with all of that
Why do it?
scheduling. Because
The guys in the house down the block aren't really doing it.
yeah, I mean,
And I don't want to say that. I'm just making it like a comparison.
I
I don't know that, but a lot of guys don't. Why
Yeah.
do that? Why pack your day out? It sounds tiring.
because I want to be the eagle.
Yeah.
Like
How do you feel when you lay your head down at night?
I feel good. I fall asleep like with no anxiety. Like I don't roll around in my bed.
What can you give yourself shit about? Do you do a reflection?
Yeah, of course. I do a 10th and 11th step every night. Like I review my day. You know, and part of my day is making sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Because if I do anything wrong, I have to like show up for that, and like I have to answer for that immediately. Because if not, I will drink. And for me to drink is for me to die, dude.
You did something the other day, dude. I wanted to make a note of. Guy came up to me the other day here in the office. He texted me. Quirky guy, too. And he said that you had approached him and made an amends to him. And obviously, he felt some kind of way inside about the treatment. Obviously, you sensed that you could have went about something different. You did what you did. He texted me to let me know, like, there's all sorts of emojis after it about basically just him feeling really good, man. You did that for him.
Yeah.
Had you not been taking care of yourself, doing your reflecting and all of that stuff, you wouldn't have been able to give that to him. I didn't know he was going through that because not everybody shares everything, you know. So
That's part of, like it says in AA, like I have to practice these principles in all my affairs. You know what I mean? And like that doesn't just mean that like I have to follow these principles while I'm in an AA meeting. Like I have to follow these principles at work. I have to follow these principles with my family. I have to follow these principles in my personal relationships with my friends and any of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Camera off,
and like,
bro.
here's the thing, bro. Like, what I know to be true is this. There's so many people that I know that have like an extensive period of time sober, and they all say the same thing. If you practice these principles in all your affairs and you keep doing what you're doing now, you will never drink again. And if you never drink again at your age, like you can have life by the balls in the next 5 to 10 years. And I want to know what having life by the balls feels like. You know what I mean? Like I want to know what that feels like because I was on a path there for a while and I drove myself off the road. You know what I mean? Like you ever hear the expression pink cloud?
Yeah.
All right. I don't like to call it a pink cloud. I call it a pink ground, right? Because I can drive straight on that ground for as long as I want, and I'm the only one that makes the decision to take me off that ground. A cloud evaporates. I don't have to ever come off that pink ground. If I come off of it, that was my choice to do that. If I keep doing the things that I'm doing that have gotten me on that pink ground, I'll stay on that pink ground forever. Now, I'm going to have bad days. You know what I mean? Everybody has bad days or there's going to be bad moments, but I don't have to let those bad days or bad moments define me and take me out of the game. You know what I mean?
What could take you out of the game?
Oh, man. There's so many things that could take me out of the game. And I talk about them a lot, like starting to make decisions that are not conducive to what I'm doing now. Like if I know for a fact, and like thank God that I've arrived here. If I start to shoot steroids again, like that takes me out of the game. If I go to the bar and start drinking, that takes me out of the game. you know? And like the blessing about it is like my family and shit, like they know all of this stuff, so they hold me accountable, you know what I mean? And like they don't allow me to do things that, like, they won't put me in harm's way. Like a month ago, I went up the mountains with my family, my nephew, my sister, and my brother-in-law, and we got up the mountains to our mountain house. And my sister instructed my nephew to take all the alcohol out of the refrigerator and put it in her bedroom because she didn't even want me to see it, because she doesn't want to put me in harm's way. And that's a blessing for me to have people like that in my life that really care about my well-being, that won't put me in a bad situation.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Sometimes if you drink and there's someone in recovery next to you, you don't know how that alcohol can affect them. And then when something happens, like what happened with you, or any addict that relapses, you start to say, like, did I play a part in that? And then when you start to realize, like, oh my God, this is fucking scary. This guy might not make it. You know, you'll start to just take that extra step to say, just get the alcohol out of there. Whether it does or doesn't affect you, whether you know it does or you don't know if it affects you, it doesn't matter. Just get it the fuck out of there. You just don't want to take the risk.
Yeah.
Your sister's probably had times where she might have wondered, like, you know, or I don't know your sister, right? But just doesn't want to see you that way. It's the easiest decision to make. Get the fucking alcohol away from him.
There's situations where, like, that have happened where she blamed herself. You know what I mean? For the
That's
part
kind
that
of
she
what I was
played.
getting at. I just didn't want
Yeah.
to say, because I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know that.
There's parts where she felt guilty and blamed herself, and like I know that for my sister, she loves me so much, like she doesn't ever want to see me in that position again, and she'll do anything in her power for me not to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have a lot of people that are like that. My mom, both my sisters, my brother, you know, my friends, like Shane. Like if somebody starts to talk about my ex-girlfriend around me, he yells at them like, "Yo, stop."
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even want me to think about that.
Yeah.
Because he's worried that me thinking about that will lead to me trying to contact that person, and if I contact that person, that's deadly for me.
I don't like to let myself even make jokes to myself about drugs and
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
And because it'll get me into a negative thought loop that can actually ultimately end in me using, no matter the day or what's going on in my life. And when I start to think about it, I have to check myself quickly. I don't get mad at myself for the thought, but I do get myself out of it quickly. It's like a switch until it becomes normal that I don't even let myself live in. I'm so used to switching the perspective. Sometimes you'll enjoy going down that road because you glorify and shit, but I can't stay there too long. So I'm very vigilant about it. Same thing is like, I won't scroll too much, you know? I don't find myself doing mindless things. That's my way of staying inside of my scheduled disciplines and stuff like that. Constant checking. Why do it? Because I see where people land when they let themselves scroll all day, or they don't have a disciplined diet, or they do allow themselves to go off the rails about toxic thoughts or relationships or behaviors. And the lives are two completely different ones. And I don't want that. I don't want that in my household. And so I practice that austerity, that toughness inside of my household of we keep ourselves right and growing forward, man. Like to health we go, bro.
Yep. This was a good conversation.
We always have good conversations, man.
Yeah.
I love you, bro.
Love you too. That was good.
Life on EJ.